In the 118th Congress, the Committee on Homeland Security held multiple hearings to examine the threat of transnational repression in the United States, which has grown significantly in the last few years. The committee has heard testimony from victims of transnational repression, including, but not limited to, Masih Alinejad, Enes Kanter Freedom, and Dr. Bob Fu, actually a constituent of mine in Midland, Texas, and all of whom have been egregiously targeted on U.S. soil for criticizing authoritarian regimes. Transnational repression is the act of a foreign government or an individual acting on behalf of a foreign government targeting anyone, an individual, or anyone in a community in any other country using violence, assassinations, the threat of violence, digital threats, intimidation, smear campaigns, or the manipulation of legal processes to harass and intimidate individuals that are critical of the nation acting as aggressor. The Chinese Communist Party, the Iranian regime, and other malign entities have reached beyond their borders to silence their citizens and Americans who defend human rights and advocate for free speech. These hostile acts directly challenge our nation's sovereignty and the rule of law. DHS must take steps to recognize, assess, and help address this threat, thereby reducing the risk to the people of the United States. One of the bills we are marking up today, H.R. 2158, is an important measure that would authorize a dedicated transnational repression working group within DHS to analyze and monitor transnational repression and related terrorism threats, and DHS to take actions to prevent the repression. The Director of Homeland Security Investigations would appoint the head of a working group, as HSI already works closely with federal and other partners to investigate allegations of transnational repressions. I want to thank Representative Evans for his attention to this critical matter and commend his work on the legislation to implement an essential public service awareness campaign to educate the public on the issue of transnational repression threats and the resources available to the victims of transnational repression. I think this is especially critical now, given the operation of an illegal overseas police station of the CCP in New York City. According to the Justice Department, the CCP, through its repressive security apparatus, established a secret physical presence in New York City to monitor and intimidate dissidents and those critical of its government. And the CCP's actions go far beyond the bounds of acceptable nation-state conduct. Last Congress, I visited and met with the heads of NYPD's Intelligence and Counterterrorism Division to discuss a myriad of security issues, including transnational repression and NYPD's work related to the Chinese government police stations in Manhattan. It is paramount that we decisively defend the freedoms of all those living in our country from authoritarian repression. I'm also proud to support Ranking Member Magaziner's measure today, H.R. 2139, to require the Secretary of Homeland Security to prioritize strengthening state and local law enforcement capabilities to counter transnational repression and related terrorism threats. All three of these bills passed out of the committee last Congress, and since then, we have made some minor adjustments to the bills to improve the practicality and implementation of them. I thank my colleagues on the subcommittee for moving these critical pieces of legislation. Collectively, these measures reflect a bipartisan commitment to safeguarding American values of free speech and human rights in the face of the CCP and other foreign actors' malign activities. Are there any amendments to the bill? Hearing none, the question is on reporting the bill, H.R. 2158, to the full committee with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. Without objection, the motion is to reconsider is laid on the table.